This video is going to now walk us through from the point where the application has now been reviewed and is complete to the point where the disclosures are actually drawn. So in this example, we're going through the same application from the previous video. As you can see from the disclosure request that was made, they're going to be sent to the borrower via scan and email, which means we just draw the set normally, but we don't send them directly to the customer via email or via ClickSign. We're just going to draw them, essentially show the system that the documents have been printed, and then notify the loan officer directly that they've been completed. So once we're at this point, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go up here to the E folder. And when you click on the E folder, you're going to see an option here for e-disclosures. So go ahead and click the option for e-disclosures. Once you do that, it's going to pull up a menu for the different types of documents that you can draw. The main one that you're going to want to use for this type of example is all fixed rate conventional first lien loans. So it's just the generic all fixed rate conventional first lien loans is the set of documents that you're going to draw. Just go down here to order disclosures and hit order disclosures. The system's going to take just a couple minutes as it starts preparing the forms and getting them ready to be drawn. If there's any type of errors, systematic errors that could populate, it'll actually warn you at this point in time that there's some system errors. But it looks like it's going through and preparing all of the forms. And then once it's done preparing the forms, it's going to give me the entire list of documents that are being prepared. So as you can see, there's a lot of them that have been prepared. And what we're going to do at this point is we would like to preview the documents. We want to make sure to review them, make sure that they're accurate, and that there's no overall issues. So this pulls up the PDF document set, and we're just going to scroll through them. So you want to do just a good once over, make sure that any of the numbers make sense. The good faith is an important one to go through. You want to make sure that the number here says 15. That's a system default, and it should show that on each loan application. But you want to make sure as well as not applicable for locking in the interest rate, just because this interest rate is not locked. So you want to make sure that that says NA in 15 days. Make sure that the interest rate here, 30 years here, the loan size all matches what you wanted. All of these boxes should be checked no, with it being a fixed rate loan. You want to make sure that there is a number here populated for origination costs, that your appraisal and all of those types of fees show up here. Your title insurance costs matches the title insurance costs we had in the system. And all of that looks accurate, so we're going to keep going. Itemization of amount financed. Usually I recommend stopping at this point just to glance over and make sure that there aren't any fees that are standing out that you're unaware of. We have our recording fees, the title service amounts we put in there, appraisal fee, credit report fee. As we go down, we've got our origination charges, as well as our appraisal management fee. So all of this stuff does look accurate and matches what we had in the system. So we're going to keep going. Again, you're just doing a good overview of the documents, making sure that there isn't anything in there that you're unaware of, or that there's no significant numbers standing out showing that these documents weren't accurate. A lot of the documents are just standard forms with the customer's name and address on there. So a lot of those, if the name and address are correct the way that you had them typed in, for example, Jonathan and Jane Test, that's really all you're looking for, and it should be copied on each form that way. So as you can see, it's a long document set. Normally, I would scroll a little bit quicker because I know you'll get used to really all of these forms in the middle. If the name and everything is correct, there isn't a reason to really review a lot of these. But what we're going to go to next is going to be the 1003. We're going to want to see the 1003 and make sure that the 1003 is accurate. So we've got our loan size, our interest rate, our term. It's marked as a fixed rate. That's all correct. Customer information is in there, mailing address, all of the customer's contact information for their employment. Make sure the taxes and insurance show up here under the proposed section. Liabilities are in the system. I want to make sure that the value here that's listed is the correct value that I had in the system and that doesn't change. 275 was what I wanted it to be. And then I always do an overview of the details of transaction here. I want to make sure that I don't have just a significant amount. Oh, let me wait for that to get off of there. I just want to make sure that down here there's not a significant amount of cash the customer's receiving at closing, which means that maybe a liability wasn't marked to be paid. I just want to make sure that these numbers make sense with what I had in the system. Can double check here to make sure that the customer does plan on occupying the property as their primary residence. As you can see, that's bolded. And as we continue on, the last form that we're going to want to look for is the truth in lending statement, and we just want to make sure that that looks accurate as well. And that's typically the last form in the system. Here's another itemization of amount financed. Okay, and here's our truth in lending. One thing that we always want to make sure is that this truth in lending date up here at the top is the date that you're drawing the disclosures for that day. APR, finance charge, a lot of those are defaulted from the system. Again, you just want to make sure your interest rate's correct, that this number right here is checked with taxes and insurance in the escrow portion, and just making sure that all of that makes sense. And then you're at the bottom. So you're going to hit close. All those documents look accurate. Now we're going to print. Since they're going to be scanned and emailed, I'm just going to select print selected documents. And once I do that, it prepares all the documents for printing. But I'm not going to actually print all of these out. I'm going to let the mortgage banker do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my Primo PDF program, my PDF redirect, whichever one you use to actually print to a PDF. And then I'm going to select print. And that's going to show the system that we're actually printing the disclosures. It's going to bring up that create PDF. So now that I know that the system thinks that they've been drawn, I'm just going to hit close here. As you can see in the behind the scenes, it actually triggered, let me hit close, and took me automatically to the disclosure tracking page to show that those disclosures have been drawn right here. Now, at this point, my documents are drawn. They're correct. So all I'm going to do from here is go back up to my log comment, and I'm going to add a comment for what I did. So I'm going to add conversation log, disclosures drawn. And I'm going to go to the body here and just type out what I did. So we drew disclosures for a 30-year term, 4%, and below 80% LTV. Docs being delivered via email from mortgage banker. And then I'm just going to hit OK. Once I'm done with that, I'm just going to open up an email to the mortgage banker and just let them know that their docs are now prepared. And I can go to my Primo PDF. I don't have to actually create the PDF. I can just hit cancel. Last thing I'm going to do is under Tools, go to my Compliance Review. and I'm going to order another compliance review. I just want to make sure after drawing my disclosures that it didn't create any kind of errors in the system, any kind of triggers that are going to cause an issue. And once I do know that and it's official, again, I got the warning because of the Social Security number being invalid. If it wasn't for that, I would have gotten a pass. And I know that my docs are drawn and I passed my compliance review. Questions? Come to myself or Brandon Lee or Brian Zemer. Thanks.